Today, I want to share the powerful testimony of Tim Freeman. He emails me and he says, I enjoy your videos and I would love to share my testimony of what God has brought me through. Glory to God in the highest. On August 3rd, 2002, 21 years ago, I married my first wife. Also, 20 years ago was the beginning of some of the darkest days of my life. However, what I couldn't see was that God had a plan for me, and He truly was working all things for good, for my good, just like the Bible promised. I got married to that sweet young lady that day, and on our way home, just over the Alabama line, disaster awaited. A car entered the interstate, so I moved over to the center lane to give them room. But they continued to come over at me, right on me. I had to go into the grass to avoid a collision. When I tried to get back on the pavement, the truck turned sideways and began to roll. We rolled 7 times at 70+ miles per hour, coming to a rest on all 4 wheels. I looked to my right, and my young bride that I had married just hours before was no longer in the truck. Wow. She was ejected at some point. I get out to try to find her, and I found her. She is unconscious and would never, ever regain her consciousness again. She spent 5 days in the trauma unit at Huntsville Hospital and died on August 8th, 2002. I was widowed as a newlywed at age 22. I'm going to try to keep it together. I went through some very dark days, but my Lord and my family and my church family were there for me every step of the way. Unfortunately, so was Satan. He put a lot of things in my head, but thank God I didn't listen. I could only imagine. Something that horrible, something that traumatic, I could only imagine how you probably thought of eliminating yourself, because that's what the enemy's going to do. It took me over 2 years to even think of seeing anyone else. I went on a couple of dates, but nothing ever felt like it did with her. Until one night in October of 2004, my Aunt Wendy introduced me to the sweet young lady who would become my wife. She was God sent. She filled a void in my heart that tragedy left behind. Since then, we have our son, Jonathan. It's also my son's name. No, he is not our biological child. He is, in fact, our nephew, but we have raised him since he was 1 year old. He is my son and always will be. And I love him and would do anything in this world for him. Today, we have been happily married for 18 years. I love her more today than when we married. She is precious to me. Other than my salvation, she is the greatest gift God has ever given me. Today, I look back on that day 20 years ago, and I don't see tragedy. I see where God was working for my good. Wow. Tim, trying to keep it together. That is some serious faith. Wow. I see where God was working for my good. He could see into the future where I couldn't. This event changed me and made me the Christian man I am today. I was a Christian back then, and so was my first wife, but I was weak in my walk with Christ. God put me in a position where all I could do, this is powerful. God put me in a position where all I could do was rely on Him to keep going. In a position like that, you can't do anything but grow in the Lord. Do you hear what Tim just said? That means he didn't blame God for the accident. Oh my goodness, this is powerful. He says, God put me in a position, so he didn't blame God. He recognized the enemy makes bad things happen, but God allows it for his own good. He went through it and he grew in his faith. He got stronger in the Lord because of it, guys. Many of us go through things and we blame God for it. This is powerful. He says, God put me in a position where all I could do was rely on him to keep going. In a position like that, you can't do anything else but grow in the Lord. Wow. And then he finishes by saying, thank you for reading this. I hope by some chance it inspires someone to trust the Lord through their hard times. I love you all. God bless. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for sharing that. That encourages me. That makes me want to stand firm and trust the Lord in all my situations. Wow. What an honor it is, Tim, that you allowed me to read that powerful testimony. Thank you, and God bless you.